search for the light in the dead of the night. Will you rise above the days to come? Will it be enough? Or will you walk away this time? Look to your left, to your right, there by your side. 'Cause we all face the fire as we search for the light in the dead of the night. Feel that rush, feel the tide. Can you feel this newfound change? Only yourselves are here again. If you had it all, but you looked the fall in the eye, could you walk away this time? Do you realize, do you recognize?
Good evening, all of you viewers, and welcome to Serenity Gaming Springsplit Division 3 match between SRG Caeli and SRG Capricorn. Tonight, I'll be solo casting this match. I'm Kaczka, just in case you don't know, and it is going to be an interesting one for sure, because that is the last match before the playoffs, and both of these teams, one, they're very close in points, and two, getting a 2-0 win today does give them a chance of even securing a second seed, which is out of their control, but it is still a possibility. So definitely a lot to fight for, and I mean, there's definitely a lot to look forward to. Also, just to get some stuff out before the game, Falk will be subbing in for Holberg. However, he can also probably swap with Hunike, so we'll have to see which one is going top, which one is going mid. I would assume Falk is going top lane, and Hunike will be sent down to the mid lane, but of course, that is all up to see once the champion select actually starts. The teams, though, they are ready already for a while. It was only the production that we were waiting on, so I would assume that the champion select is going to start relatively soon. Also, Yumi is now enabled in the SRG Spring Split, so we could be seeing that in support. I know that Gorange, he said he might play it. I don't think he practiced it so much in order to pull it off, so we'll have to see. Alternatively, Chris for Capricorn could also be playing that champion, but hey, I mean, we're gonna see what exactly will be prioritized by both of these teams. I would probably assume they're going to go towards their comfort rather than anything else, mostly because it's Division 3. And yeah, and P teams, that actually sounded really bad. I didn't finish my point. Pretty much at this point, if you pick your comfort picks, if you pick something that you can play, then you're going to be more often than not coming out on top when it comes to the draft. And that being said, I believe that the picks and bans might have commenced already. Capricorn will be on the blue side, Caeli on the red side. So Capricorn, they've got the privilege of getting the first pick. They ban away the Jarvan. I'm your dad. It's his most placed champion, and he also loves to play those ganking junglers. So it makes a lot of sense just to take that one away. Whereas Katarina, it's gonna be taken away from Chang, who is also one of the highest, or the highest ranked member on Capricorn, and he's a Katarina main, not really a one trick. He does play other champions, he can play mages, he just likes to play assassins, and I think Caeli decided to focus him down with the bans, whereas Capricorn, they removed the Irelia. and Kaiser as well. Kaiser, something that Nick the Panda plays a bit. Irelia, I think it's played by Hunike, maybe even by Falk. I am not exactly sure about that one. So Capricorn just kind of banning all across the table, whereas Caeli showing clear focus in the mid lane bans. We'll see if their third ban also will be mid lane, or whether they want to ban away something meta that they don't want to give over. It will be the Caitlyn, which is pretty interesting, considering that Akio, I believe he plays mostly scaling champions, and then there is the Caitlyn that he can also pull off. So always really nice to see Caeli. They might want to force something more towards late game. They could also be playing through their bot lane. Gorange showed time and time again that he can play those playmakers in the support position, and he can get Nick the Panda ahead in the 2 versus 2, and that's something that if you can pull off as Caeli, then that's definitely a win condition to be going for. Not quite sure what's going on with the overlay. Probably some of the picks have already gone through. Alright, so it will be the Sejuani for Capricorn locked in, and Brom responds with Caeli. So not necessarily a hyper aggressive support in the bot lane, but still one that can make plays. You can play safe. I like it pretty much. Some nice well-rounded draft. And Hecarim will be going over to I Am Your Dead. And I said it before, he likes to play the ganking junglers, and if he can make the plays early, then once he gets the ball rolling, Caeli are often going to, you know, be on the good foot. Just go ahead and win pretty much the game, as now Zaya and Morgana, so no Rakan, and it is going to be the savior with the response. So just looking at what the teams have drafted already. The bot lanes, although saying that Morgana could be flexed into the mid lane, but I'm going to assume that the bot lanes and the junglers have already been locked in. So the focus will be mostly on the solo lanes now in the second phase of the bans. If Morgana is put in the bot lane, then that duo will provide you with a lot of safety, even post the laning phase. And the same can be said about Sivir Braum. So if it is Morgana going for Chris, then bot lane probably not a whole lot of action. Now Caeli, Silas, 2 very strong solo lane picks, can go into top lane, can go into mid lane, and are something you don't want to deal with in a side lane once the game goes in much longer. Both of these teams are just removing those champions. I'm still looking forward to what Falk is going to play, because he mostly enjoys those kind of playmaking champions. There's stuff like Rengar or Riven even. He maybe can play tanks. I don't think I've seen him really too much on those kinds of champions. So we'll have to see if he goes towards those. Tilia and Kassadin, just some mid lane bans. And talking about the Riven, it is now being hovered by Nick the Panda, and it could be going over to Falk. If it does, then my eyes are definitely on the top lane to see if Tank Boy goes for a tank, or if he will try to match the carry 1v1 matchup. And it is indeed the lock in. Alright, Capricorn, what do you respond with? Because if you pick something that isn't a Poppy, something that would be more weak in that top lane, you would be camped by both the Hecarim and a Riven. But that being said, getting that solid tank could provide a lot of safety, and I believe they did lock it in the end, so that should be going over to Tank Boy, and he will be one safe Poppy. The question now becomes about, can Falk punish that, and can he build up a CS lead, or even maybe look to roam on the Riven? That is also perfectly possible. And the last pick for Capricorn, we're going to be waiting yet again on as to see what do they want to go for. So far they could build a pretty nice scaling team fighting composition, but the question with that is, how far do you want to go against a Sivir? Okay, so hold on, can I just repeat that? So Vladimir Caeli is what I heard. Okay. Alright, well, anyways, I can't actually make sense. I'm sorry, Joe. I know you're trying to tell me. Yeah, okay, so it will be coming through the picks. It was just a little bit bugged. So it was a Zoe and Vladimir. Alright, yeah, that's what was being said. It was just me not hearing that. Alright, Hunike and Vladimir, and Chang is going to be playing the Zoe. So now I talked that Capricorn could be going for the team fighting, but it does seem like Caeli, they definitely want to fight you. They're just gonna, in the mid game, towards the late game, they're gonna group up and they're gonna run you down. And this is where I'm looking at the side of Capricorn. They've got 2 tanks in the front line, and they also have the Black Shield and the safety of Isaiah. The only member that I would be really concerned about when it comes to getting picked out would be Chang, because he's playing a Zoe, and so far he has the Ignite. Of course, he can still switch the Summoner, and so you have to watch out for that. But if he gets locked down, he doesn't really have that many escapes. But overall, the side of Capricorn, I think they are definitely looking to just not die pretty much. I mean, every team is looking to do that, but especially against this team comp of Caeli, I just kind of really want them to get Chang ahead. If you can somehow do that against Hunike's Vladimir, because Vladimir does have the pool, and he's got the flash obviously to himself as well, and he can avoid the ganks fairly effectively. But, you know, if you get the combined mind of Zoe and the Sejuani onto him, you can kill him. Hunike will have to be careful. And if Zoe gets ahead, let me tell you one thing. You're not going to be running anyone down. She's going to be the one just bombarding you from the sides. And that is where I feel like Capricorn will be looking to play through. Another alternative is the bot lane that I think you can see. But the problem I see with that is you've got a Silver Brom. Like, that lane is so damn hard to kill. You're not going to be getting anywhere close to that unless you get Kag the Cookie and Chang maybe roaming down, and then Gonj and Nick the Panda are stuck under their towers. That is what I could potentially see, but otherwise it will be difficult. And also, if you look at both of those AD carries, Sivir, as long as you don't run out of mana, which might be a problem, she will be able to push the wave against the Zaya. I mean, both of those AD carries of course have quite a lot of wave clear brought to themselves, but if Nick the Panda uses the ricochet as well, then they shouldn't really get pushed under their tower to the point where they will be able to get dove. And even then, once Brom hits level 6, he's just so strong when it comes to defending against any sorts of dives. And this is where I feel like Caeli kind of have the longer straw in this draft, because they can scale, they can snowball through pretty much any of the lanes. Although bot lane, you know, I'd probably expect Nick the Panda to scale up, but that is also possible that he can snowball. Whereas Capricorn, they can also scale, don't get me wrong, they don't have a terrible late game. It's just when it comes to those 5v5s, Caeli are gonna run you down unless IQ gets insanely fed, or Chang will be one-shotting people left, right and center, or unless Kag the Cookie finds a beautiful glacial prison. Then I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I just don't see Capricorn really winning the 5v5 late game fight. So they will be either relying on skirmishes or getting ahead. And this is, I feel like, something that we need to look towards in this game, is how do Capricorn decide to play and how do Caeli decide to play. Because, yeah, they've got the possibilities. They can go for whatever they pretty much want. And let's not forget that's their last match before the playoffs. I believe both these teams, they're locked in playoffs pretty safely. They are sitting at 16 and 15 points respectively, which is 4th and 5th seed. The 2nd and 3rd are on 17 points. They still have their games to play, which means that both Edel and Lyra, those are the teams, they can secure themselves the 2nd seed. But if they don't, then both of those teams with a 2-0 win, or even just a win, have a chance of getting that 2nd seed, and that means they buy into the semifinals. That is a pretty big deal. Of course, it's out of those teams' control, so the most they will fight for realistically is probably that 3rd seed, where you get the choice of your opponent in the quarterfinals. But hey, it can happen, and all those teams, they are definitely hungry for it now. We do see the runes that have been picked for all of the members. I don't think there are really any surprises. Electrocute on Zoe, it's interesting, although I'm not sure what else you would exactly pick, because that gives you so much single target burst. It's actually insane. Now, that point that I talked about in the Champions Select earlier, where if Chang gets ahead, he will one-shot people, that just becomes so much more real, because there aren't really too many true tanks. You've got the Hecarim, which will build Bruiser. Falk can itemize defensively if he decides that that is the best course of action. And Hunike, I mean, Vladimir will have a lot of HP. Gorange, I think that's the biggest threat to Zoe, but Braum in early game or even until the late game, he isn't really that tanky. Like, most of his tankiness comes from the Unbreakable, which if used correctly will mean that Chang will do absolutely nothing, just because you can block those projectiles so easily. But with that being said, we are going to move over to Summoner's Rift for this first game of the best of 3 between SRG Capricorn and Caeli. Both of those teams just setting up, or actually Flank, he's feeling adventurous. He's going to just jump over that wall away to safety. Only loses a bit of HP, Gorange and Nick the Panda sitting in that Tribush. If Chris comes over, he could eat a bit of poke. That Morgana wouldn't really set him back in lane a whole lot, but it definitely could do some damage. And yeah, we are just watching as the teams are fighting for some early vision. I know Gorange definitely wants to, or I think he wants to sneak a ward in on the Raptors if he gets the chance, but I think he sees Chris and he's like, alright, nah, I'm not gonna go for it because it is too risky. And the ward on the Raptors, if you can place it, it actually gives you so much information, because now we know that Kak the Cookie is starting red buff. Imagine if Caeli have got that ward. They would know if he's starting red buff because top lane shows on time and bot lane shows late. And if he doesn't show on the ward, he's going into Krax, probably into Scuttle. And if he does, then you know if he's going topside or into the Raptors. And it is such a valuable ward, but that is a lot of hypotheticals. It didn't happen, so Caeli do not have that information. They will know about the red buff start though, and I am your dad, he also started on the blue buff, and I believe that Capricorn should also be aware of that. Level 1, a bit of trading in the top lane. Falk against Tank Boy. That Conqueror is doing a bit of damage, but so is Grasp. You cannot really underestimate, and Poppy went for the Corruption Potion, which means that the 1v1 duel potential for that player has increased a lot. The Broken Wings, Falk finding the knock-up. Tank Boy about half HP. Falk already used his potion. He hits level 2 first. That could be very dangerous. Falk Boy uses his second potion. He's gonna get stunned with the Valor. Falk might want to go in for the kill. The flash is still available. Will he use it? Yes, he does. Falk does not follow it up, and he forces out the flash away from Tank Boy. And that's gonna be pretty good for setting up later ganks, or maybe even going in for this kill right now. The first blood is going to be picked up solo by Falk in this top lane. He manages to punish Tank Boy for not getting the level 2, force his flash, and then go for the kill. It was also so close under that tower. One more auto attack would have done it, but instead Falk picks up the kill. He's going to recall. He has got that extra gold. He has the choice of using his teleport, or he has the choice of just walking in. He'll actually just decide to commit the summoner to get into his lane faster, but I am your dad. He is already in that brush looking for a potential repeat gun. No flash on Tank Boy, so if Falk goes in, could be big. That's a nice pin against the wall. A bit of damage going down onto Riven. Falk down to half HP as the Grasp is going to smack him in the face. I'm your dad. He's still standing. He's still looking. As soon as Tank Boy leaves the safety of his tower, he will be ganked, but in the meantime, Kak the Cookie looking for Hunike in the mid lane. If you can force at least a summoner, that would be good. The knockup with the Arctic Assault is going to come through, but now look at the top lane. Falk going in, he finds the stun. The devastating charge from I Am Your Dead pulls Tank Boy into the wall. Flash forward from Falk, and he gets his second kill solo on the HP, but the minions do not finish him off, and Caeli find their second kill of this game in the top lane. And that Riven is going to become pretty big. However, look at the mid lane. Hunike, he's got his passive up. He's actually going to get put to sleep. That could be a lot of damage. And still, early game, the Pile Style into Electrocute. Hunike was below 100 HP and is now forced to recall. Even though Caeli find 2 kills in the top lane, mid lane is going pretty well into Chang's favor on this Zoe. Hunike does commit the teleport to not lose that big wave, because if he was forced off all that CS and XP, then that lane would become pretty big, but now he's able to catch up. I would assume he's going to be able to last it most of that creeps, and as a result close the CS discrepancy. Now fact, he's letting Tank Boy push up. I am your dad, he's looking for another gang. There still is no flash. It is still 2.5 minutes. On this Poppy and Caeli, they want to punish Tank Boy as much as possible. Another stun with the Valor. I'm your dad, pops down the ghost. Devastating charge is going to get charged up. Brings back Tank Boy into the minion wave. And Falk might be looking for the kill. He does not find the knockup. I am your dad, he needs to get out. And Tank Boy survives to his sliver of HP. Now Cacti Cookie is full health. I am your dad and Falk low on HP. I'm your dad just 100. He's going to be able to escape though. For now, he charges up the devastating charge just to get the movement speed. Tank Boy is running low. It's a 1-for-1. Falk now survives over the permafrost coming in from Cacti Cookie. The aftershock is not going to be enough. And Caeli fight for 2-for-1 as Falk gets his third kill of this game. This is going to become even more massive because yes, Capricorn did get a kill in return, but they gave over to one of them, another one to Falcon. I just want to pay attention to what happened in that replay. As I am your dad was going for that gang, Cacti Cookie was already on his way, and it would have all been good. However, I believe Falk didn't have enough cooldown, or maybe he didn't try to commit. All right, well, looks like we're jumping out because Chris is running over in the ball lane. The Ignite is down. Gorange is going to get actually executed by that tower shot with Aikyo getting the kill. Credit a bit of an overextension from the support of Caeli. And that is not going to help them. And yeah, we switch back to the replay. They don't get the kill. Cacti Cookie comes in on full HP. First, he's trying to go on I am your dad, but then he doesn't really. Tank Boy is still following it up. And then a lot of damage. Oh, that I believe that might have even been the Tarcho. And that last fight, Falk just uses everything he has. And alright, another gank in the top lane. This time Falk actually, he needs to watch his HP. One more auto attack will finish him, but no! He does survive as I am your dad finishes off the kill. And yeah, let's actually look at how that happened. So Falk was on a ward. I am your dad is trying to come in. Cacti Cookie is nowhere nearby. Falk engages. And because he wasn't on full HP, he's going to naturally lose quite a lot of it in the process. Tank Boy trying to run away. And yeah, we did see that part. Insane amounts of damages from that top lane duo. Once they get ahead, and that was really close to an attack. Was it actually casted? The hammer shock animation was already started. Have a look at the middle lane. Cacti Cookie engages with the Arctic Assault, doesn't get the flail to slow Hunike, and Chang just throws out the Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Could be a bit of damage. Hunike down to half of his health, but will be able to survive. And the point it brings me back to is what I mentioned in Champion Select. That top lane jungle duo. I said if it wasn't Poppy, then okay, I don't have time because Hunike is gonna get ignited. Is the pool enough to save him? Yes, the last tick doesn't get him down. But that Riven and Hecarim duo, once again trying to finish the point that I was trying to make. They're just going to keep going. It doesn't matter if it's a Poppy, it doesn't matter if it's a tank that has the escapes. It is going to be so insanely difficult. Now that level 6 has been hit and Tank Boy has access to his Keeper's Verdict, it should be slightly easier. But only ever so slightly. He's still doing fine in CS, so I wouldn't be too concerned. But that is a 3-0-1 Riven, and Falk is just looking to play aggressive, get some damage onto that Tank Boy, down to half, finds the knockup, gets the stun as well. The ultimate is available, so you have to keep your eyes on that, and you have to keep that in mind. But likewise, Flash for Tank Boy has come off cooldown, so the free gank Poppy tactic doesn't really work so much right now. Alright, Falk still just looking for some trades. Hunike in the middle lane, he's trying to farm up, and when I look at Capricorn and what they can do, I really like that kill sitting on Akio. It was Gorange's mistake. I'm not going to try to cover it up, but it is still going to help you stay relevant in that lane and actually build some of an advantage. But you need to focus on this mid lane, and both junglers do recognize that. I am your dad. Stunned with that permafrost. Hunike gets a transfusion onto Chang. Tides of Blood coming through as well. You've got the Glacial Prison on Cacti Cookie. Hunike could be run down. He has to throw down the pool. Good flash away from the ultimate, but he now doesn't have that summoner, and this is the pressure that I want to see Capricorn exert. Make sure that Hunike doesn't do anything. Get Chang all the CS he can, get him some platings if you can get him some kills, because this guy will need to carry you through the mid game. Now teleport from Falk. He's not interested in roams. He wants to get in lane. He wants to get this solo kill onto Tank Boy. The win slash does secure it. Caeli Cookie joins the fray, but he might have slightly overextended. Falk is going in for that double, and he does get it in the end. Now 5-0 and 1 on this Riven. This is why Chang needs to get ahead. If he doesn't, then Caeli are going to run away with that lead they found on Falcon. Yeah, that will be a sad way for Capricorn to end this game 1. Hunike taking a bit of poke, just trading it back with those transfusions. And Falk, he's the coach usually for Caeli. I mean, no, he's the coach for Caeli. He's now just subbing in for Holbeck. He's going up to the top lane, putting Hunike in the mid lane, and he's performing really damn well. However, that Mountain Drake is gonna be the next objective. Gorange, he loses a lot of HP from that Paddle Star. The Dragon 1700. Cacti Cookie is gonna jump over the wall, and now Capricorn, they might be getting it. Oh, Gorange gets nuked by Chang with that Paddle Star. IQ has to use the Featherstone. He picks up the shutdown onto I Am Your Dead. This fight is going very, very bad for Caeli, as a double kill is found by Chang. They get 3, they're gonna get the Mountain Dragon, and Capricorn are biting back. That was definitely a bit questionable from Caeli, trying to just go for that Mountain Drake when they had the low HPs, but maybe they thought, alright, we could be winning. The problem is, your lead is sitting on Falk, and he used his teleport aggressively to pick up the double in the top lane, which in itself is a good play. It's only when this stuff happens when it kind of becomes a negative balance for your team, because you cannot really fight. Like, let's just see what happened right now. Gorange loses his HP. Capricorn are full HP. I'm gonna give Caeli benefit of doubt and say if they didn't lose all this HP, they could have won the fight. But Chang gets Gorange. I Am Your Dead tries to jump in for IQ, but before he even uses his ultimate, he's gonna get jumped. IQ just pulls the feathers back in, he gets the kill, and then, I mean, who's trying to help Nick? Absolutely no one, because there's no one to help him. And Chang just gets a double, which was a very good play from Capricorn. I like to, I mean, I kind of did bash on Caeli for making the mistake, but it was good play to recognize that Caeli don't have their fed member, and that Capricorn can go for it, and that they will win it. And now look at the items. You've got Luden's Echo on Chang, you've got the Essence Weaver on Akio, and these guys are ready for the mid game. Even though there is a gold deficit, I'm pretty sure if you switch back to gold, all of the lead that Caeli has is on Falk. And if you look at all the other members, then Capricorn, they're probably ahead. And yeah, let's look at that. Falk 2600 ahead, and every other major lane apart from the jungle and support, alright, but all the 2 other carries are ahead for Capricorn. Now I'm looking for a gank onto Chang. No flash on the Zoe. Let's not forget that the hero plague is down, and the Zoe is gonna go as Hunike is able to secure himself the kill. Alright, so that was actually pretty good from Caeli. They managed to get away from the fight and say, alright, we need to do something. They've got the control ward. They know that I Am Your Dead was not spotted, and they just go for the gank. They executed well. Chang didn't have the flash. There was no way in hell he could have escaped from that, as now Hunike is gonna get jumped on by Kak the Cookie. Good dodge away from the permafrost by the Sanguine Pool. Falk still trying to extend this solo lead in the top lane by finding the kills onto Tank Boy. The problem is that Poppy is going to become tankier and tankier, and even though Riven you can itemize into the tank shredding in the solo side lane and you still have the kill threat, it does diminish over time. And so Caeli need to be careful. That's a good heroic charge into the wall. Oh, Keeper's ready, gets the knockup. One more tower shot could have finished Falco, but it didn't connect. Falco now using that ultimate. I Am Your Dead looking for a gank, but that tower stands healthy. The minion wave is cut short, and now the Herald will be summoned. Tank Boy, can he interrupt it? No, he cannot, and with that, he overextends and gives his life to I Am Your Dead. That should also be the first time. Now look at the bowling. Glacial Version down onto Chris. He pops down the Black Shield, goes gold, and Gorange in the front line. Featherstorm already has been committed. The heal now from Aikyo. A lot of damage from the feathers. Look at the Panda. He's losing so much HP. Aikyo gets the first kill, and Chris finishes off Gorange with the Ignite, and Capricorn outplay in the bot lane and find the 2 kills. Alright, well, let's just look at what happened, as Hunike is getting jumped in the mid lane, but that doesn't really matter. So, Gorange goes for the Glacial Fissure. You need to finish Chris off because Aikyo has got the Essence Reaver. Now that he comes out of his ultimate, all of his spells have diminished cooldowns. You don't finish Chris off, and those feathers, they cleave Gorange pretty much. And Nick the Panda, he's stuck. The heal doesn't help him, and that would have been a clean double, but I don't think Capricorn are in any position to object, as I'm aware that he's gonna secure his blue buff, as Kakekuki fancied himself a steal. Devastating charge engage is coming through as Falk has now joined the fray, so did Chang. Nick the Panda coming in from the north on the saver. The stand onto Kakekuki. Boomerang Blade is going to chunk him to third of his HP. Using the Arctic Assault now is the Sejuani. The Wind Slash from Falk, I believe it hasn't been used just yet, or has it anyways? Caeli, they come away empty-handed. Alright, and now Caeli, they initiate the mid lane push. They are losing skirmishes, which is what we said which is what I said. I'm too used to duo casting anyways, which is what I said that Capricorn are going to be looking for in the mid game, because 5v5s, they're gonna struggle unless Caeli are going to throw them. So we see Capricorn winning those skirmishes, and Caeli are like, alright, we're just going to try and push the waves, which, if Capricorn ever get to force the skirmishes, could backfire. But as long as you have Falk in the side lane just drawing away the pressure, it will be good. The problem is, Aikyo and Chris are doing just that, and a bit more effectively, because there are two of them. They've got 1.5 items Zaya already with the completed Berserker Greaves, and whereas they are able to push back Hunike, take the tower, Chang is able to stand his own. I am your dad, could be looking for Kakekuki. No flash on the Sejuani. 1 versus 3. The concussive blows are stacking up. They find the stun. The Glacial Fissure for good measure, and Nick the Panda gets himself on the board. Battlestar still chunks down I am your dead, and Capricorn are here to respond, but Caeli, they pull back and they're gonna take the kill, and now they will be looking for the Ocean Dragon. Just please don't take the fight if you're low on HP. Finish the Drake, smite it, and get out. But it's good that Capricorn doesn't go for the contest, mostly because Kakekuki is dead. It makes a lot of sense. But it could have been one of those occasions in which it did backfire. In the end, it does not. So we are 17 minutes in. The Baron is still 3 minutes away from respawning, and even though we do see Capricorn getting those skirmishes, there is still that big lead in favor of Caeli. I would say it is mostly on Falk, but Hunike and Nick the Panda have been able to pick up some kills. I am Yoda, he's also very much ahead of his counterpart, and if Capricorn don't really push the gas in, if they don't try to force some more skirmishes before that Baron spawns, then suddenly Caeli can just play around this objective and force Capricorn to go into 5 versus 5s, which, unless they find more significant item leads than what they have right now, I would assume they will struggle in them. Because yes, Aikyo has got the Essence Reaver and the Zeal, but I think the Panda has got Infinity Edge, and he has been sitting on those items for a while, so I would assume he can complete either the Berserker Greaves or the Zeal, or maybe even both, if he does have enough of that gold. So you do have to watch out for the carries of Caeli to catch up and to just be much stronger than their counterparts. Although, talking about catching up, Hunike is ahead in items compared to Chan, although actually the Proto Belt is a lower cost than Luden's Echo, so this is probably where the disparity comes from, with the needlessly large rod on top of that. Yeah, Chang is ahead in gold. It is just the item cost. I'm trolling my color casting, and yeah, it's just the item cost that is why Hunike is able to have a needlessly large rod on top of his first item. Though damage wise it probably will be similar. And I think the big thing to focus when it comes to those carries, or at least Chang, is that Capricorn, through him, they got a lot of single damage burst. Zoe will be able to delete one target and probably repeat that every 10 to 15 seconds at this stage in the game, if set up correctly. Also, a lot of CC is single target for Capricorn, whereas Caeli, they want to run at you, they want a 5v5. So the setup will be something to watch, as now Falk is gonna actually get pinned under the Tower Keeper's Verdict. Just deals some health to him, but he doesn't seem to be too concerned about that. And coming back, you need to watch for single Caeli members to be on their own, just like Falk now is in the bot lane. He recognizes it, he moves under his tower. Cacti Cookie doesn't yet have the ultimate, as now I am looking for the mid lane. That will be a 3 versus 4 flash away, as well as the Featherstone already committed from IQ. Going jumping in with the Glacial Vision, he gets the knockup. Teleport is going to be challenged. IQ and then the tower already shut down. Gorge picks up the kill and he's going to be traced back. That's a good pin against the wall. I am your dead. He doesn't have the ulti and he is very much dead. And Chang just nukes Nick the Panda. And Capricorn turn this fight around. They find 3 kills. And now they will be looking for that mid lane tower. The Baron is alive. They will be looking at least for some vision or some more dominance over this map. And this is what you need to see this team do. Whenever Caeli go for the play, whenever they try to go for the kills, you just turn back. You have that single target pick potential, which, well, if you have the numbers advantage, you can single target multiple people at once. Gorange went in for the kill, he got it, he was stuck under the tower, and then the flank from Tankboy, the heroic charge into the wall, onto I am your dead, secures that kill, and Chang, he just does Zoe things. That's Zoe when you're ahead 1-on-1 for you. So yeah, good execution from Capricorn. They might still be behind in gold, but they are looking scarier and scarier. Second item hit by IQO together with that Executioner's Calling. So Hunike might struggle when it comes to sustaining through the fights, especially that Chang is going to be looking for that Morello Nomicon earlier rather than later, which is going to mean that Hunike, he's not going to get pretty much any of his heals, and it will be all about trying to burst the back line, get onto the right targets and kill them. And this is where I hope I will get some time to talk about the flank or engage potential from Caeli. They've got Riven and Hecarim and Vladimir, the 3 champions that love to dive your backline. All of them have got to some extent AoE. Riven, when you do pop your Blade of the Exile, the ultimate, you have surprisingly a lot of range around you on your Q and W abilities, so you can get the AoEs if enemies are close enough. With that being said, actually Far goes in, and there it is, the 3-man stand, and the Featherstone is going to get popped. Aikyo, he has nowhere to go though. The Blascom is going to be taken over the wall by Cacti Cookie and Tankboy. Falk is still on the chase. Caeli, they smell the blood, they want to get more kills, and they're gonna be able to just cut down the boomerang blade. Orange taking it with the Winters by the Glacial Vigil flashed away from, but here comes I am your dead with the devastating charge, and Capricorn are now just going to get decimated. Falk going in under the tower. He might not be able to get the kill. He's gonna go golden, tanking the tower, but he should be fine. And guys, this is the engage I mentioned. Falk with the 3-man stand initiates it, and he just explains the point for me. This is how Caeli are gonna win the fight, and what we saw in Melee is how Capricorn are gonna win the fight. What it becomes now is which team gets their execution. And yeah, let's just take a look at what has happened. Capricorn, they group up, they don't see Falk. Falk sees them. He goes over the wall. That's, I believe, a flash stun with the ultimate for the extra AoE. IQ, good Featherstone. However, it's not gonna save you in this situation. He did manage to avoid most of the initial damage, which I guess would be useful if Caeli didn't get such a great engage, but it didn't matter, and that was just cleanup duty from there for SRG Caeli. And yeah, Falk is playing really, really damn well on this Riven, which, I mean, I guess one of the champions he plays a lot. It is to be expected now. 3 items. He's got the GA, so he can afford to go in for those engages, because even if he dies, he can just buy some time. Now he's engaging in onto Falkboy, just chunking his health. That puppy has a lot of armor, so it won't be an easy feat, but I don't think he cares, as Tankboy finds himself with only 50% of his health. And now Falk is actually committing in under the tower. Keeper's Verdict is not gonna go knock him away, and Falk is godlike, just getting the solo kill on a side lane Riven. 24 minutes in, the Baron is alive. Caeli just looking to sweep the vision, get the waves in position, because that bot lane, that bot lane, as in the top lane matchup, it's gonna keep bleeding. Falk is going to be nigh unstoppable, at least until Tankboy gets I'm gonna call 3 items, and even then he's gonna struggle because Conqueror is so damn good against shredding the tanks. As we are gonna go into the pause. Alright, we are just gonna come out of the pause, I feel like. And we're gonna go back in this game. IKO is over in the middle lane. However, Gorange is on the sideline. The ward has now been popped down, so Engage will be spotted, but will be spotted early enough as Falk is sitting on that inhib tower, is able to crack open the base through the split push, and Caeli just now are playing the pressure game. Cactus Cookie, good dodge away from the onslaught of shadows. IKO just on this back line of the fight, looking for opportunities to get in some damage. He needs to be the consistent damage dealer for Capricorn, whereas Chang needs to find the right targets. IQ needs to be there to make sure that people are getting low in the first place and to try to threaten the dive from not happening. The problem with that is that Caeli right now are so far ahead that they probably don't even care. As long as they've got the flashes on the engage and they can secure it, they will be more than fine. And they just need to make sure that Nick the Panda doesn't get deleted and he can clean up, even if Falk or Hunike or I Am Your Dead manage to somehow fall down during that engage. Just sorry, I need to drink water for a bit. Alright, so the game, let's take a look at where the state of the game is. First of all, let's look at the towers. 5 to Caeli, 3 to Capricorn. All 3 towers in the ball lane have been taken. Mid lane tier 2 is what Caeli really need to play through right now. If they get that, all of the blue vision that you see right now probably wouldn't be there. Because Caeli, they just need to have the safety of going into the jungle, and they will be able to secure all that vision. Whereas Capricorn, they need to keep doing what they're doing. We had the vision toggle just then. They had the wards safely placed in. They know what is going on in their own jungle, and they have both the mid lane towers for Caeli knocked, so they can enter it. And if any pigs do happen, then they don't need to worry about overextending for a very long time until going in. So for Capricorn, it pretty much becomes about save what you have and look for picks. Look for Caeli to overstep by going for that mid lane, and preferably don't have Tank Boy die in the ball lane once again. This time the Keeper's Verdict does manage to get back off his face, but that could be the inhibitor. And for Caeli, play through the pressure in the ball lane, which is what they are doing right now, and in the meantime maybe get in mid lane tower if you see Capricorn commit. But it looks like they will just let Falk take that inhib. There isn't really anyone who can match him in this ball lane. You are gonna have to commit at least 3 members, and the inhibitor has been taken. Caeli start the Baron, and now the pressure is on Capricorn. Alright, it actually hasn't been started. The old division instead has been cleared out. Oh, Hunike is shut down. Chang finds the first pick. Falk is under the Nexus towers. In that base, he's trying to go in for Falk, but he needs to watch his HP because it can run out as well, even though he's got the Conqueror and Dead's Dance. But Capricorn, they did what I said they had to do. They get the pick in the jungle. They do have to, unfortunately, give over that inhib. But they are now in numbers advantage, and Caeli, they want to force this dragon. If they do it wrong, we could see a repeat of what we saw in the early game. Alright, it is started by Capricorn, and I know that could be looking for negation. Look at Falk, if he gets another big knockup, or he just finds one stun. Chris is going to a stun as well. The Black Shield has been already committed, and Tank Boy joins the fight. It is going to be a 4 vs 5. Hunike still isn't in here, and I Am Your Dead is going to be the first casualty of the fight. Nick the Panda is down. Falk trying to go in and do some work, but his GA is going to pop now. Look at Hunike. Hemoplague is going to get thrown. IQ still safe on the backline. Falk trying to go in for the assassination. Does not find it. Shut down instead onto Cactus Cookie. Hunike is going to flash the binding and get Chris. 1 vs 4. I am not sure if this man cannot play him. Oh, can he? A double kill is going in for the triple. Hunike, can he do it? Can he get the 1 vs 5 outplay? He goes in for the Tides of Black. He tries to get a kill to Tank Boy. He should be able. That is a quadra, and Chang, he's gonna be able to escape for now. But Hunike, 1 vs 4. Actually, Chang is still here. Hunike, does he want to go for it? I don't think he knows he's here. Chang slightly out of mana. He flashes in, not enough to finish him off, but it doesn't matter. Hunike with a big play finds the Quadra. Just look at the minions hammering on that Nexus tower, and what even happened here? Why don't they have a caller to take cover? Caller caster to take over in those teamfights. Alright, anyways. Teleport from Tank Boy. That's the 4 versus 5. I think alright, let's buy some time. Let's wait for Hunike to DP, because that mid wave is a good TP spot. But I am your dad. He's going to drop. Nick the Panda. Stun. That's a great heroic charge from Tank Boy. And then Falk. He tries to go in for some more cooldowns. He gets everyone low. And now look at Hunike. That's a good chemo play, especially that it means that the targets who are affected by it get extra damage dealt. So Falk was nearly able to get him. And then with those low HPs, for Hunike, it is just cleanup. I do like the way, though, he positions around Tank Boy. This guy had no chance to knock him into the wall, because Hunike was either too far away, or in the pool, or what we just saw, he stepped so that he doesn't get stunned, whereas Chang does get away, and Hunike doesn't get the 155 penta. I mean, Quadra is good enough, if you can get it, and make sure that your team still gets something out of a bad fight. That's all that Caeli want. Alright, look now at this fight. It is brewing once again. The Onslaught of Shadows finds a massive fear into the Glacial Fissure. Fire picks up the first kill, gets the double. IQ in the backline with nowhere to go, picks one back up, but Caeli finds 4, and Tank Boy is the only man left alive. Now what Caeli wanna do, the Baron is up, but they're going down towards this bot lane. The Deathtimers, they are pretty long. They could be looking for some Nexus towers. I'm not sure if they can finish, but seems that they might be going in. Tank Boy, he needs to really think, what do you want to defend? He's now running underneath his Nexus towers, and still 20 seconds on Chang, 17 on IQ. That is a 4-man stack of Caeli. They could be going in for that Nexus turret. Chris in 3 seconds. The Keeper's Verdict is going to knock away Falk. The first turret falls. Chris is already back up. Captain Cookie is going to respawn. And Caeli, they keep pushing forward. They keep going for those Nexus turrets. They're gonna knock the second one down. The Nexus is exposed. IQ has respawned. Chang is going to be up as well. The Nexus is dropping. Nick the Panda, he's still alive. He's still doing the other next. Falk is hitting onto the Nexus, and the members of Caeli, they're just not dropping. They're looking for the Nexus, and Caeli find the game 1. So Caeli, they don't need the Baron. They use that inhibitor. They use the fact that they found the fight. I am your dad with beautiful initiation. Gorange with the follow-up. So is Falk. They layer everything together. They get the 4 kills. They go for the finish. The call is clear. Get the wave. Get the end. Get the Nexus. And it seemed like it was close, but Capricorn, they still needed about 5 more seconds to kill all those members of Caeli, so they were pretty comfortable at least in that, and with that, Caeli, they find the game 1. But we will throw it over to the short break before the game 2 to see if Capricorn will be able to take us to the game 3, or if Caeli will find themselves with a 2-0, so stay tuned.
salvation. Those flags you wave represent them. The world is watching. Here's your judgment. Here's your reckoning. Write your story down into history. Pride and country. You could have everything. So bring home the glory alive. Here's your judgment. Here's your reckoning. So go and bring home the glory alive. Here's your judgment. Here's your reckoning. Write your story down into history.
Welcome back, everyone. We are just a few seconds away from this second match after Caeli took a fairly confident win in game one. With the exception of a few fights, Capricorn will be looking to strike back, and I'm looking forward to any adaptation they make, because what I take away from game one is don't give Falk Riven, or at least make sure he doesn't punish you too heavily on that. And Capricorn, they can definitely play through their mid-game skirmishing potential, especially bot lane and mid lane. They have stepped up in game one. Gorange and Nick the Panda looked pretty shaky in lane, and I spoke with Gorange before the match and he was pretty confident. And you know, game one, a bit of a flop. Hopefully in game two for him it's gonna be better, but eyes on IQ and Chang, because if they get maybe even some better champions suited for the mid-game playstyle, Capricorn could be looking to utilize that. Whereas Caeli, I think they're pretty happy with how things went, maybe with the exception of the aforementioned bot lane, since that 2v2 especially, it didn't go too much in their favor. It wasn't definitely terrible by all means, the bot lane for Caeli, but they weren't really able to get the fights in their favor, and they didn't fall tremendously behind. But I'm just gonna throw it out there. If Falk wouldn't be this far ahead, it would definitely be a much harder game for Caeli. And so we'll have to see how things change coming into the second match. Let's not forget that's the last game before playoffs for both of those teams. And let me actually just look at the scoreboards for the Division 3, because as I said, both Capricorn are on 16 points, Caeli are on 15. Now they're guaranteed 16 at the very least, even if they proceed to lose the next two as we're going into the picks and bans. So Caeli, if they manage to win this game, they will technically be in second seed. However, both Idol and Lyra, which in that scenario would be third and fourth, are just 1 point behind, and both still have to play their games. So Caeli, if they want to get the semi-final bye, they have to win this game and make sure that both Idol and Lyra lose 0-2 or FF their games, or some sort of thing like that happens. But the dream is still alive, and I'm pretty sure that they're keen on winning their second game. As let's just review what the bans were. Caeli sticking to the same, Katarina, Zed. Their third was Caitlyn, taken away from IQ, and he showed that he can duel you in lane pretty effectively, so why give him a lane bully AD carry that can just poke you from range. Whereas Capricorn, they still ban away the Kaiser from Nick the Panda. Now this time they decide to remove the Riven from Falk, as Caeli, they decide to remove a Caeli instead of Caitlyn, leaving that pick open. Capricorn also deciding to take away the Vladimir, so Caeli, they cannot go for the same composition. We'll see if they go with the same sort of picks. Jarvan was open. That is a big pick in any meta pretty much for the past few months. Recently there are more substitutes, but if you are looking for a ganking jungler that can skirmish, that can do well in the team fights, that doesn't really fall off unless you go full AD, then Jarvan is pretty much perfect, and I Am Your Dead has played it a lot. and so it makes a lot of sense. Kak the Cookie though, he's going to be going back on the Sejuani, and Zaya once again given over to Aikyo. He had a really good performance in game 1. The problem was the dive from Caeli. It just couldn't be matched. There was no way that frontline from Capricorn would be able to hold on against them, and there just wasn't enough protection. Now this time we'll have to see with different picks if he'll be able to do a better job, as Caeli decide to go for the Morgana themselves, most likely over to Gorange, unless Huneke wants to play it in the mid lane, which I am not exactly convinced is going to be the case. I would assume that they lock the AD carry right now. They could go for the Sivir yet again, or actually they don't go for the AD carry. Alright, well, they just lock in the Silas, and that was also banned away from them in game 1. Could go to Huneke, could go to Falk, but what I know is that it is going to be pretty strong in those mid-game teamfights, and even into the late game, although not just as much. And Caeli are going for a pretty similar playstyle. They've got the Jarvan, they've got the Silas, and if that duo gets ahead, they can do a very similar thing to what we saw Falk doing in the first game. Xerath, however, is open. Capricorn decide to go for it, so instead of trying to play around the mid-game, they decide to pull out the scaling card. Especially if they now maybe want to remove some of the scaling picks from Caeli, that could work. Caitlyn, by the way, you don't want to give the Caitlyn Morgana to any bot lane, regardless of what you're playing. Because even if you're playing something hyper aggressive like Draven and let's say Alistar, or actually Alistar is a bad example in the Morgana, but I mean any aggressive support, you're still running the risk of getting absolutely smashed to pieces by the duo, no matter who the AD carry is. Now Capricorn could be looking to just ban away another ADC, something safe like Sivir could be a ban, just to make sure that you can have an easier time in the bot lane, or just anything that Capricorn don't really fancy going up against. It's also a viable option, or yeah, Falk's Rengar. Though I'm not 100% sure, because Falk can just go onto the Silas, although Huneke also can, and this is where things become interesting with the draft. I guess they say, alright, we don't want the Rengar anyways, we've got the Xerath, which is arguably one of the easiest champions to get jumped on by Rengar. The only real counterplay is if you manage to snipe him with your stun mid-flight or have your entire team around you, which isn't necessarily the easiest and isn't necessarily going to happen, so I can definitely understand it. And Caeli taking away the Rakan, not to allow Capricorn to complete the duo, and we'll see, do they want to go for the support here, or do they go for the top lane? I think going support makes sense, so that you know where to put your solo laners, and it is a Lulu. We are going to late game. If you're Capricorn, you will have that Ardent Sensor and the immense peel potential, but Lulu isn't too much of a lane dominant pick, at least not into high damage duos, and so Draven is open, and Nick the Panda could be looking for that. If you put Draven Morgana, if that Lulu ever gets cut out, it will be big. Instead it is a Tristana. Caeli decide, alright, Draven is a bit too volatile. If he falls behind, he doesn't do absolutely anything, and so we're just gonna lock in the Tristana, and we're going to be good. Now a lot of hovers from Caeli. Galio is still open, but I don't think they will go for it, since I would assume that Gorange is the one piloting the Morgana. Darius also. I'm just not gonna get baited by anything that Gorange does right now. I think Aatrox makes a lot of sense, and yeah, it will be the lock in. Surprisingly, I think both Falk and Huneke play both Silas and Aatrox, at least to some extent. I'm probably completely wrong with that statement, but hey, we'll see. So you've got that flex, and instead Tank Boy, sticking true to his name, is going to be put on a Maokai. So we've got the full late game team fights. We don't want to early game team comp from Capricorn against, I just see mid game skirmishing, I think. For the side of Caeli, you've got the Jarvan early ganking that can get both Aatrox and the Silas ahead, and I'm mostly looking at the mid lane because Xerath is fairly immobile, and you've got a lot of CC between those three. Nick the Panda, Gorange, I think they can find the 2v2 leads. The problem is that you're not killing IQ on the crits once they hit level 6, unless you find some, I mean, you know, Gorange is a better support than me, but if you're into Wild Growth and Featherstorm, you're going to struggle to kill them unless you can somehow force those ultimates and then, before they come back up, get a repeat engage or just somehow find so much damage that you're able to burst through both of those abilities. IQ and Chris should be fairly happy to just scale up and get to that Ardent Sensor and get to through those all protective items, and it will be all about the top side for Caeli. I like the flexibility. If top lane doesn't work, for example, if Tank Boy plays really safe or if Kag the Cookie decides to spend most of his time there, then I Am Your Dead doesn't need to play through Aatrox, he can play through Hunike. And even though Hunike was pretty much left alone and did absolutely nothing until that quadra kill, now he's against Xerath. He's playing a Silas. You've got that chain, not the chain last, the abduct. It's called long range stun, able to pull yourself towards Chang, and even though Chang showed to be a good Zoe player, he can't control the wave. He did show that in a ranged versus melee matchup, and it's something to watch if Hunike will be forced out of the lane. I think if I Am Your Dead decides to spend at least 5 seconds in the mid lane and Chang doesn't happen to have a brush warded, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. And this is what Caeli can use to snowball. They probably just want to play through top lane and mid lane and jungle. Get yourself ahead on either top lane or mid lane. You can go bot lane. It's just that it's my personal bias. Whenever the wild growth is up, whenever that power spike is hit, it is difficult to kill that bot lane unless Gorange finds a binding into the ignite into the ultimate and Nick the Panda and loads his full combo onto the single target and IKEO's heal happens to not be up. Then I can see actually Nick the Panda and Gorange find the 2v2 kills, but you know, we'll definitely see. Just a fun fact, I'm gonna try and make a wild guess, because I know that Gorange said that he is really keen on smashing IKEO and Chris in lane, and he didn't in game 1. Now he's playing Morgana, a playmaker support that is, well, it's better at playmaking than Braum is. Even though Braum could be a playmaker, you tend to play him more defensively, and you're not like really looking for those kills and picks. Now he's playing Morgana, you need to go for the bindings, you need to go for the plays. You're playing into a Lulu, a champion that you both outrange and outdamage. You don't really necessarily, you will have more utility on the Lulu. So this is where I would see Chris try to make his mark on the lane. But if Gorange can, then he probably will try to bully that support out of the lane. This is where things will become interesting in that 2v2 in the bot lane, as we're still in the waiting room for the game. And you see, it's really sad that the stream is with over 1 minute delay, because then I could ask you guys what do you want me to talk about. Because without the other person being here, I could just talk about unrelated things the entire day and probably get most of them wrong, maybe get some of them right. Type in chat the question. Bit production is saying I am too lazy. Anyways, now I got the brain, like, give me a moment, guys, give me a moment, I'm gonna be back soon. Right, Chang, yes, this guy, I wanted to say something about him. I did already mention it earlier, but in game 1 on the Zoe, he showed good control of both his positioning and the wave, and the fact that he didn't really die until that 13-14, I'm gonna call it, minute gank. And now he's in pretty much a similar position. If he's getting ganked, he's going to die. This time though, there is even more CC available on Caeli, and so he needs to step up and he needs to make sure he doesn't die. Also, if he somehow gets ahead on the Xerath, let's say Kag the Cookie decides to camp mid lane and Hunike is overextending, then that is one of the scariest snowball picks. I don't think people really see the Xerath that often getting fed, but trust me, a fed Xerath is no laughing matter. Like, you're going to regret every single kill you're gonna give this guy, especially once he gets his hands on a, let's say, Luden's Echo and the Death Cup. That is the death combo, as the runes have come up, which means that we should be getting to the game soon. Caeli really liked the Conqueror, but it makes sense. You're playing 3 bruisers and you're going for the mid game. No real surprises there with the runes on either side, really. Nick the Panda has depressed the attack, which is one of the standard runes on Tristana. What is really interesting is that with the 3 procs, you are able to get your bomb and the bonus damage and the bonus exposure damage pretty much at the same time. That is it. So that is why you could sometimes see Tristanas in mid-game delete people, but as we are in the game, Caeli are going for an invade. Tank Boy is on the tribush duty. He does see them, but he doesn't really go away. Oh, flash into the Herald Pit. Wards coming down from Caeli. I am your dead is still on the wrong side of the map, and that could be a statement closer to home than I thought, but Capricorn, they decide to drop they decide to not go for the collapse onto the Jarvan, and we're just gonna see one summoner being blown in the early game, not much more. Chris has gotten himself that ward on the red buff, so they will have 100% confirmation on where I Am Your Dead starts. Whereas Caeli, they don't really have that many wards in the early game for themselves in the jungle. There are just those two that have been placed to make sure that Tank Boy flashed into the pit and then try to flash juke them, although I'm not sure if you can really flash juke from that position easily or at all. And the Raptor ward is going to be placed down by Hunike. So finally, what I talked about. I know that Gorange, whenever I play with this guy, he mentioned it a few times. He explained it to me only once because, yeah, who would explain the thing twice? So they will probably know that Cagdi Cookie started on the red buff. But now look at that ward. They know exactly that he started on the red buff. They know he's going to do the Raptors. And they will know whether he's going to stay in the top side, go to the ball lane. But I Am Dead looking for a level 2 gank in the ball lane. Gorange has got the binding available. He's still waiting on the polymorph. It's going to come down, but first blood picked up by I Am Your Dead. Good setup from Caeli's bot lane. And this is the kind of stuff that you wanna see, especially after the ball lane wasn't doing too hot in game 1. I Am Your Dead takes the red buff, paths in for a level 2 gank. They find the kill, and now Chang, he's still up in the mid lane, forced to get his flash early on. I Am Your Dead, he is so aggressive, and now Zerath, no flash available for the next 5 minutes. If Chang ever decides to overextend and I Am Your Dead happens to be nearby, he's going to die. There is no way that this Zerath is surviving any of the immediate engages. And talking about that Raptor ward, Caeli have full information that Cactus Cookie is in the top lane, and look what it allows them to do. IKO is getting engaged upon already, 200 HP. The binding on to Chris, this is why those wards are important. You know that Cactus Cookie is top lane, which is interesting because Falk is going to get ganked, collapsed 1 versus 2. The permafrost stun connects and his HP is all but running out. 200, pops down the potion. I Am Your Dead is nearby. Falk dashing out is now 200. That's a double flag and drag knockup. Falk is still alive until now. Tank Boy picking up the first kill of this fight. I Am Your Dead flashing forward for Kag the Cookie. He gets the kill. Can he go in for Tank Boy? His abilities should be up very soon. He gets the knockup. He gets the slow with the red buff and he picks up the double kill. That's a 3-0 start for the Caeli's jungler as binding connects onto IKO, and Gorange is getting his sweet revenge. That's 16-4 CS lead in bot lane, and Caeli, they are absolutely snowballing this game too. And I think the question really becomes now, what do Capricorn do? How do they come back? I strongly believe that they will want to scale. Their 5v5s, they don't win by a large margin, but Jarvan and Silas, apart from, they will really only be utility bots. They don't really have that much damage, although Hunike will probably be able to one-shot people if he gets a few items and gets onto the right target. But it will be mostly the utility providers slash frontline, whereas you've got the 2 insanely high damage dealers in the late game in form of Chang and Aikyo, and you've got Chris's Lulu. Like, don't forget this guy. The longer the game goes, the more value that champion provides. And so the only thing that Caeli need to do, and the only thing that Capricorn are hoping that won't happen, is to try and snowball. But now IKO, his solo kill in the ball lane. Good return though as Ignite goes down. Now Gorange might have a bit more than he can chew, is forced to get the flash. That is a 1-for-1. The kill going over to Chris, not ideal, but Capricorn, I think they can take it. The huge member to really have your eyes on, both in terms of playmaking and who to get out, and who Capricorn needs to make sure doesn't get everything he wants, is I Am Your Dead, 3-0 on the Jarvan. I think honorary mention to bot lane, Nick the Panda is doing great in CS. IQ really has nothing to do as now in the top lane. Falk takes a bit of damage from the tower, but look at Tank Boy. The minions are going to finish him out, and yeah, that is sad boy Maokai Hours. 30 CS in the deficit. Caeli are definitely pushing the gas, and I can talk about how Capricorn can come back, but it doesn't look at anything but unlikely right now. Chang doesn't have the flash, the binding, and I Am Your Dead is on a rampage. 3,000 gold in the lead. 6 minutes in. This is looking like one of those games that Caeli is looking to finish by 16 minutes. They want to get the 2-0. They want to get the chance of the second seed. Of course, it's out of their control, but as long as there is chance, it's always good. Nick the Panda, he just rockets jumps away from that gang. There's nothing that Kyle the Cookie can do. He doesn't have the glacial prison, which means that he cannot get the lockdown. The only real CC, I guess you could call it, apart from the blade collar from IKO, is that polymorph that maybe would have kept Nick the Panda, but he would have just buffered the rocket jump as soon as he hears the animation. And so Capricorn do find themselves in a tough spot. Tank Boy is getting bullied in the top lane even more. This time he's also losing in the CS. At least he has his flash, so he's likely not going to get dove for the next 2 minutes. The problem is once Falk hits his first item, or even level 6, which actually he does have access to right now, and I Am Your Dead decides that he wants to go top lane, you will most likely see a dive onto that Maokai. He is pretty tanky, but you're not going to survive a lot if all the abilities hit. And right now for Caeli, it is all about the unforced errors that Capricorn are going to inevitably make. When you're this far behind, you are going to make some mistakes. Sometimes when you're playing against the teams, they aren't able to capitalize on all of them, and that's why you will see comebacks happen. But when you're behind, you can guarantee you will make a mistake, and sometimes it's not even fair to call it a mistake, because you just are put in a lose-lose situation when you are forced to make one. As a binding connects onto Chris, 200 HP, Ignite is down, flash away, is it enough? The heal is going to go down, but Gorange gets the kill, and yeah, this ball lane is going to be really hurting as well. And this time I talked about the dive. I Am Your Dead pays a visit to the top lane. Tank Boy overextends. Falk gets the kill. Even gets the respawn, but doesn't need it. 2-1 and 2 on the Aatrox. Capricorn 4,500 gold ahead. Alright, IKO, he's just going to get rooted up. Orange taking a bit more damage than he would have liked. This game really is about Caeli just snowballing whatever they like. And I feel like this is where we will get to judge them. This is the last game before playoffs. We get to judge how cleanly they can snowball. Because I'm not sure. I think the quarterfinals are best of 3. But if you make it to semis, you turn into that best of 5 format. And it all becomes about adaptation. Oh, Gorange forces the Featherstorm from IKO with that binding. And if you cannot snowball Elite cleanly, then it is really tough for you to win a best of 5, because you will have to rely on getting ahead or your opponent making mistakes. When you are guaranteed to play 3 games, at one point your opponent is going to be like, alright, we know how they are trying to get ahead. We know how to stop them, and we're going to do exactly what they need us not to do in order to win the game. And this is where Caeli can prove to themselves that they are coming into the playoffs strong, as IKO is really up. No flash, no Featherstorm. Nick the Panda could be looking for the kill, but just the threat of the Lulu is enough to deter any further proceedings. There's another binding onto Chris. Gorange is just having fun throwing those out. It is really fun to play Morgana when you have pressure in the lane, but now IKO, Buster shot into the wall, flash away, flash forward from Nick the Panda. Wild Growth already utilized. IKO, 100 HP, he's got the shield, still enough HP to survive until now. Nick the Panda picks out the first kill, he's going in for the double. Kak the Cookie joins the fray, and Chang also looks to make something happen. That is a lot of low health bars. The Glacial Prison already fell down. You've got the right of the Arcane Pulse, flash forward, doesn't find it. That's the first shutdown. The second is going to get flashed away from I Am the Dead, uses the flag and drag. Gorange doesn't get hit by the Arcano Pulse, and it is in the end going to be, I believe, a 2-for-1 in favor of Caeli. However, crucially, Chang gets himself on the board. Capricorn, they get something back as Tank Boy is gonna get dove yet again. Falk is on a killing spree. You pick Maokai, I think you're going to deal with this. It is just so hard to even criticize Tank Boy for that, because the only thing I think you could do better is try not to lose HP and try to farm up, but you're playing against someone who clearly knows how to play Aatrox. I don't talk about the ranks disparity usually, but it is there, trust me. I'm not gonna call out the ranks. Falk is definitely much higher ranked than Tank Boy, and you are seeing this top lane bleed yet again. And Aatrox, he just becomes such a terror in a side lane, and even in the team fights, if he gets sufficiently ahead, that even with that comp, even with what I said, the consistent damage dealers, the solid front line, Capricorn, they will need so much time before all of those things become relevant compared to what you see right now from Caeli. You've got the Infinity Edge on Nick the Panda. This guy has nearly twice the CS of his counterpart at 11 minutes. This is no fluke. This is a consistent pressure applied in the bot lane without letting IKO and Chris even breathe. These guys aren't getting to do anything in this bot lane. Chris went for Moby Boost. I think he just wants to make sure that he can run to the lane faster, because you aren't going to do anything in lane. I guess roaming mid lane is where I am looking. Lulu, not the greatest roamer, but if you can turn around the play with Chang, give him that wild growth, give him some shields, and get more kills on that Xerath, then this is the best case scenario I can see for Capricorn. As now Kag the Cookie looking to force a play in the ball lane. Black Shield, Rocket Jump, Buster Shot, all available. No flashes though, but I don't think it matters. Capricorn forced to drop the chase. Kag the Cookie now needs to be careful. Needs to dash over the wall because there are 4 members of Caeli. He actually goes in this time. The polymorph connects onto Gorange, but the glacial prison from Hurricane that was hijacked goes onto IQ. The wild growth as well as the blade collar is going to be good, but I Am Your Dead with the flag and drag in goes unstoppable. And Caeli, they get 2 more kills. They're gonna get that ball lane tower. Chris cannot stop them. The minion wave is running kinda short, but they still should be able to get it. If not on this wave, then on the next one. They're staying through, and Caeli just cleanly keeps snowballing forward and forward. 8,000 gold. Now Chang, good stun onto Huneke. Huneke looking to trade back. The chain lashes not really doing so much damage, and as we do see, actually, I want to talk about the gold, but there's a bit of fighting going on. Caeli on the Drake, Huneke losing a lot of HP. And just quickly, from what I can remember, huge leads in top lane and in the AD carry position. Chang has a marginal lead in the top lane, and Kag the Cookie is very far behind us now. Falk looking to make it 1 versus 2. Have a shutdown onto Tank Boy, and that is good gank coming in from Capricorn. They are able to go get themselves some gold, close this lead ever so slightly, and get to that mark. I'm gonna... Alright. I'm actually gonna try to guess how much time would it get to Capricorn to scale up to potentially having a chance in this game. I'm gonna say 30 minutes on the clock. Then the game kind of becomes more even. But let me correct myself before anyone says that Caeli falls off. They don't. They do not fall off. Tristana is going to be a monster. Silas is going to be good. Falk is also going to be good. I'm Your Dead is also going to be good. And if execution is right, Caeli don't get outscaled, in theory. If they play the game well, then I don't think there is a point where they just get straight up outscaled. And so this becomes a real problem. But I think Capricorn have shown in game 1, and, you know, partially with all those skills they've been able to pick up, that they can get the execution right as well. It's just back to this point. When you are behind, you're going to make mistakes. Even if you cannot play the game perfectly when you are behind, if the other team is doing so. The team that is ahead, if they play the game right, then the team that is behind will always make mistakes, because naturally you will be put in a lose-lose situation. And this is what we are seeing from Capricorn. Caeli are ahead. They aren't making too many mistakes. The latest mistake I can remember is Falk of not respecting the gank in the top lane. However, everything else, Capricorn are forced into those losing situations. Let's think about what Capricorn are in. Let's think about the game from Capricorn's point of view. You are insanely behind. You cannot really match anyone. And look, Chang tries to defend top lane. He's just getting dove. Hudike jumping in. Chang is still alive until now as Chainlash finishes him off. And now in the ball lane, you've got that Falk. He's once again 1 versus 2. Permafrost is going to get him down, but the damage with the dunk flash away. The Glacial Prison as well, trying to buy some time. And Falk is just running in. 1 versus 2. The Infernal Chains do not connect, and what can Capricorn do? The answer is not much. Whenever they try to answer, Caeli will beat them individually. You need at least 2-man advantage, and you need Chang to be one of the people with you if you are Capricorn, if you are ever going to find something in your favor. And just coming back to that perspective, let's just think about the game from the losing team's perspective. I think it is kind of fun when you are this far behind. You've got Tank Boy in bot lane. He's just desperately trying to hold on. He should be able to sustain under the tower unless Falk gets his ult back up. So we've got that short window. But now Chris, he's trying to ward. Gorn just solo kills him on a Morgana. And now IQ, he's getting jumped on by Nick the Panda. Pops down the Featherstorm. This could be a bigger fight. Nick the Panda flashing over the wall. He's going to avoid all the damage. Cookie now trying to join the fray. That Blastcomb, that's a weird interaction right here. Cookie binded up under the tower. Nick the Panda, he is still hungry. And Capricorn, they lose too. Caeli, they get 2 kills. Why? Because Chris needs to ward. But you cannot ward when you are this far behind. But if you don't ward, you are not going to do anything. Especially not when you have this much engage and lockdown from Caeli. Those are the unforced mistakes. You cannot not make a mistake if you are Capricorn right now. The only way you don't make a mistake is when Caeli overextend. But even then, we saw Falk was 1v2 in the ball lane. He was still more than fine. And this game just becomes all about trying to stem the bleeding. They conceded 4 towers and 1 Drake, which by all accounts, with this deficit, isn't that bad. I've seen worse games. It is of course still insanely hard to play it when you are this far behind in gold, in levels, in damage, in everything, even in vision. But Caeli, they aren't really pushing in for that deep vision just yet. Mostly because we've got the tier 2 in the mid lane and in the top lane. And so they still need to be respectful, let's be honest. You've got that level 12 Zerath with 1 item already. If you run in, you will die. You aren't that far ahead, Caeli, yet. And actually a Herald was already in Capricorn. I didn't spot that earlier. Alright, now they will be looking for the middle, but IQ, he's gonna get binded up and the engage is coming through into the Cataclysm. He's going to flash away. Nature's Grasp from Tank Boy, trying to create some space, buy some more time. Chang on the sidelines, throwing in the Arcane Pulses. IQ, another flag and drag from I Am Your Dead. The Blade Caller is going to save him for now. Chris, stuck under the tower, has to burn the flash. Falk with the Whirlwinder expired now, is going to be forced to disengage right off the Arcane, coming through from Chang, doesn't really do too much. And Capricorn, they lose 1 member. They don't lose any objectives, but their Herald didn't really do a lot. And as a result, Caeli will go over to the Ocean Drake. Very, very useful, especially when you're this far ahead, because you can just stay on the map for such extended lengths of time. You don't need to worry about your mana or health running out. Really, the only time you need to recall is when you need to buy wards or buy items. Maybe not with 1 Ocean Drake, let's be, but most of the time, unless you get chunked really low, you will be able to stay on the map. And this is where the vision around the Baron becomes important. Because Falk, yet again, he's got a lot of space in the bot lane. He's playing an Aatrox, a similar lane bully champion. This time not able to rack up as many kills. And Tank Boy actually is able to hold on better than he did in game 1, I'm gonna say. But he can still definitely go for the play with taking the inhibitor and the rest of Caeli pressuring around the Baron. I just want to see Aikyo and Chang rotate between the lanes and wave clear. Make sure that the waves are never pushed into your tower completely. Leave them just before. Don't let Caeli get the turret aggroed. Let them push in for that vision, and for God's sake, please keep that control ward alive for as long as possible. It is so important when you are ahead. You can see Caeli, they're already going for it because they know how much safety it provides. Or actually, they could be going in for IQ. That's a rocket jump over the wall, binding the Panda. The Buster Shot is available. Holy moly, that binding onto Chris just takes him down to half health with the Tormented Soil. And with the pressure in mid lane, I guess Caeli are just going to come and sweep the vision, because at this point Capricorn, they just cannot do anything. Alright, Kag the Cookie is going to stand tall. IKO binded up. That could be the kill. Featherstorm is going to be forced. No flash, no heal. I Am Your Dad is dominating, going in for the double in the Cataclysm, and tier 2 in the mid lane is the next objective for Caeli. That's a good Glacial Prison. Shutdown is going to be found on to go, and Rite of the Arcane still doing some work. Chang now forces the flash away from I Am Your Dad. Those Arcane Pulses are really starting to hurt. The turret still stands, and Hunike is able to dodge away from the shocking orb. Falk still full HP, still has the World Ender, and now the hijack Rite of the Arcane is going to be responding. Hunike landing 3 shots, 2 onto Kag the Cookie, will probably force him to base and regen his health. However, tier 2 still stands. At this point, the only thing Caeli are getting are kills. They need to get actual towers or big areas of the jungle lit up with their wards, which I guess they're kind of doing, so good for them. 21 minutes in, they are still trying to further their lead. 2 items on Nick the Panda. They're working towards the second items, and as we have the minimap highlighted, you can see the vision for Capricorn. It ain't much, but it's honest work. They have the one ward in the brush behind Baron, one of your favorite ones for setting up the death brushes. And Caeli, they got a lot of deep vision in the bot side, as it was just highlighted, but not too much deep vision in the top side jungle, which is going to be really beneficial for Capricorn, because they can feel relatively safe. I'm not gonna say safe, because Nick the Panda will actually just kamikaze into you whenever he sees the opportunity. They can feel relatively safe in their own jungle. They can push into those control wards like the one we see behind the pit, and they can just make sure that Caeli need to spend time clearing vision, because all the time you spend clearing vision is the time that Caeli does not spend with trying to push in your base or trying to kill you, which is, I don't think I need to explain. It's good. It's what Capricorn want. Now they will be moving in as a team, get control of that brush. It becomes so important in this Baron dance, because if you get control of that for Caeli, you can move into the jungle. If you get control of that for Capricorn, you will make sure that you know when Caeli is in your jungle, which automatically means you will be safer. But now Kag the Cookie is going to get binded, and I know that it's already here. He's got the Cataclysm available. Kag the Cookie jumping over the wall onto Godeke. That's one tanky Sejuani, and even though it could have turned out pretty badly, it doesn't in the end. The Ice now are on the bot lane, because Caeli see, alright, we cannot really force the Baron. Capricorn are contesting vision, they're contesting fights, so let's play through the split push, because that is where you are pretty much guaranteed to succeed. Now Chang is sticking around the bot side, maybe in a position to help out his top laner. He's just trying to clear out those minions. Honestly, that's all that Tank Boy needs to do at this point. And he's doing it relatively well. He's keeping himself up in HP. Of course, he's going to be behind in CS, but that is to be expected, as finally that tier 2 falls in favor of Caeli. They will be now looking to open the base. That's always the objective you are looking for when you are ahead. Even as insanely ahead as you are as Caeli with 14k in the lead, you still need to break open the base at one point. And in theory, if Capricorn can prevent that, then they won't lose the game. I mean, that's one of your duh moment, but you know, it works to think like that if you are on the losing side, which I think what I'm focusing on it a lot, I know, but Capricorn need to stay in this game if they want to force the game 3. They are still locked for playoffs, I believe. I don't think anyone can overtake them from that from the top 6 finish, but they probably still want to get some points, and if they manage to win the series, they could be fighting over for that 3rd spot. I'm not sure how the tiebreaker situation looks with Lyra and Idol, and I'm not sure if they can still find the 3rd seed by winning just one game, but any points you can get are good. And it all becomes about the momentum into playoffs as well. If you're going to lose 0-2 with game 2 looking like that, then yeah, you get some reset before playoffs, but let's be honest, it's still going to be in the back of your head, especially if those two teams end up facing each other, because that is possible. The Capricorn and Caeli could be one of our quarterfinal matches, as Tankboy is trading with Falk down to half health. So is the inhib tower. Tankboy is just trying to clear it out. He goes in for those twisted advances. Infernal chains do bring him back. He needs to be careful with how he decides to spend his health, because Falk, he's got a lot of sustain. Both the Death's Dance and the Conqueror mean that you can stay alive for a very long time. Now Tankboy going in, there's a lot of healing available. Falk instead focusing the tower. He wants to break open the base. Once he does, he doesn't need to worry about it, and he finally gets this objective. Tankboy going in, the right of the Arcane onto the Falk. He pops the World Ender. That is 3 members committed, and Caeli, they are going to start the Baron. Kaki Cookie is behind the pit. Kaki going, he's got the flash. He's not going to contest, and Baron instead is secured by I Am Your Dead. Caeli with the base broken, with the Baron up. We'll see if they can close it out. Oh, thank you for actually putting up the standings. I will talk about it in a while. Sakio is going to be threatened, forced to use that Featherstorm. So, as you can see the situation, Capricorn, Caeli, 1 point difference. Idol and Lyra both still have to play their games, so that's why neither of those teams can secure the 2nd seed. They can hope for it, and if Caeli win, they will be on 18 points, which is technically above, but then Idol can secure it by just winning 2 games, same with Lyra. And yeah, Crater are out of playoffs, so all the top 6 teams that you see are secured. Therefore, no matter if you lose the game, you're still in playoffs, but the 3rd seed gets to choose, and usually the 3rd seed chooses the 6th seed. That means that if the standings stay as they are, which is likely to happen though not guaranteed, then you will have Capricorn versus Caeli quarters as a big possibility. And so definitely this match just rises in value, and we'll see how confidently Caeli can now close it out, that they've got the Baron, they've got the base open. Falk should take the inhibitor in a matter of 30 seconds. The rest of Caeli are going topside, and Capricorn, they need to find one hell of a fight if they want to keep their hopes alive in this best of 3. Falk just jumping in. He still wanted this inhibitor. He will secure it. There is nothing that Tankboy can do. Now, can the rest of Capricorn stop Caeli in the top lane? This is the real objective that you need to be defending. But look at Falk. He is just staying with his minions. He's threatening the Nexus towers. And now Capricorn need to stay. Oh, that ice bola. If it hit Chang, that could have been the game right here, right now. But just goes slightly to the side, and the Xerath stays alive. Chang looking for some poke. The Arcane Pulse charged up. It is just about the wave. Akio forced to use the Featherstone. He's the last both his summons available. Has to get that Wild Growth already committed. Cactus Cookie in the front line, just doing what he can. Buster Shot has been committed already. A lot of ultimates. And no real game from Capricorn, and Falk is still in the small lane. Caeli, they're just looking to choke them out. And I think they're doing a pretty damn good job at that. Falk is going to get chased off the base, since Caeli aren't putting pressure in the top lane, and Capricorn can respond with 3 members. The Whirlwinder is going to get popped. If Falk gets a single assassination, he could be going in for the big play. He already gets Chris. IQ is going to drop. That's a double kill. Falk is now big in the front line, getting all the damage in. Cactus Cookie flashing out in fear from this Aatrox, but Caeli, they will have no mercy. Nick the Panda jumping forward onto Chang, and Capricorn are stuck in the base. The Nexus is open, and at 29 minutes, Caeli are just looking to pick up some more kills, but more importantly, they're gonna take the 2-0 win over Capricorn. And this is a big confidence win for the side of Caeli coming into the playoffs. Right now, they are in the 2nd position in the standings. Of course, that is more than likely to change, because the only way in which they hold on to that is if both Idol and Lyra in their upcoming matches. Of course, I'm not exactly sure what are the head-to-heads, but they would preferably need to both of these teams lose 0-2. However, hey, they still get the confidence win even if they don't end up securing the bye, and they could as well go for the 3rd spot so that they get to choose their opponent, and Capricorn instead, they're going to be in that 5th position, can still go down to 6, I believe, since Roskilde have a match yet to be played, but they are secured in playoffs. That was their last game for the regular split, and it was tough. I think definitely a lot of weaknesses are shown. Mostly I am just looking at whether Tank Boy can find something where he won't get bullied out, because it is really pretty much outside of your control. If you are playing a Maokai into an Aatrox like this, you cannot really expect him to hold on to anything, and it was just Falk also with good mastery of the champion. Capricorn, I do like their mid lane though, and bot lane if they don't get bullied out like that. I think this is where they need to focus coming into the playoffs, and for Caeli it is, you know, just keep doing what you're doing. And the question is that I have is, are they going to keep subbing Falk in? Because it does seem to work, you know. Falk is, you know, he's doing good on top lane, as you cannot deny that. He's able to play those bullies and do well into the tank matchups, and that could work for Caeli. Coming into the playoffs could definitely be one of the stronger teams, and that is going to be it for me, for us tonight. Thank you for joining us. That was I've never talked for this long without a pause. Someone take me out already. But thank you for joining us. Don't forget to follow us on Twitch. Join the Discord if you are new to the stream. We also have Twitter, so feel free to follow us there. But I was Kaczka, I was your caster. The production was by Joe, our man, and we're going to wish you a good night.